It's getting colder and they say it's supposed to snow tomorrow potentially. I don't think it will, but I guess we'll see. And what did I read today? How about this one? More debate about police officers using drones. This one says, drones used in law enforcement raise privacy concerns. As it says here, as surveillance technology expands across Michigan, law enforcement agencies want to expand their strategies with it, finding new ways to conduct remote, efficient policing with drones. That paragraph alone makes a lot of people worry. Will they misuse it? Is it going to go overboard? It says the state police was the first department in the nation to use drones for policing in 2015. Since then, 1,400 law enforcement agencies nationwide have implemented their use regularly. However, issues of privacy and ethics in its use are still up the air as drone use is relatively new, according to Professor J. Richard Broughton, a criminal law expert at University of Detroit Mercy Law School. Broughton said the biggest debate in drone surveillance is the Fourth Amendment, which protects people from unlawful search and seizure. Broughton said other criticism could relate to trespassing on private property by flying over it. One of the first major court cases examining privacy inquiries with drones arose in Michigan. This is that story actually you've heard about before, where officials, for example, they hired someone, I guess, to use a drone to scout out the property to see how much, I guess, quote, junk, if that's what you want to say, was around it. It says in that case, which is in front of the Michigan Supreme Court, Todd Maxson claims that Long Lake Township in Grand Traverse County took photos of his 5-acre property without a warrant to use as evidence against him in a zoning dispute. Broughton said the lawsuit is a civil case but could set a precedent on what is constitutionally acceptable when using drones in criminal cases as well. Bob Stevenson, the executive director of the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, said there has been a lot of misinformation about the use of drones in general, creating more fear in the communities rather than seeing the fears in courtrooms. Oh, how about that, huh? Too much fear of, quote, misinformation and all that? How does that sound familiar? Again, all of a sudden when it comes to officials using it and all that, they're using the kind of the same talking points that a regular person would use. Stevenson said, as with other police tools, people worry about what may happen to their rights when implemented. He said the solution lies in educating the public on drone use, saying, quote, if they need to have some safeguards built in, we don't have any objection to that. Stevenson said, but we do object to throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So what would you think? What would be the main argument there? Because again, these are the exact same talking points pretty much. Should they be able to use it? Should you not, quote, educate people that have this weird perception that it's, quote, spying on them, it's carrying weapons and all that? Because for the most part, people just use it for fun, for example. But again, it seems like when the situation's reversed, all of a sudden, I guess it's a different story, huh? And how do you balance that? What happens, for example, let's just say there's a situation where there's a protest or something like that. What happens if there's a, quote, I don't know, crooked cop or somebody in a higher up position says, I want to restrict people from being able to use this stuff, so I'll just ban them all. Is that fair, would you think, in that case too, where the police could document the whole situation or the official, but an average individual can't? Is it just because of the media, for example, where people are constantly being fed this negativity with, let's just say, a recreational flyer flying for fun, they demonize them, or at the same time, they use fake gurus and so forth to say, oh yeah, you really need these $1,000, $10,000 training and courses to operate this stuff because they're dangerous. Because with that thought in terms of media, this was really fascinating from what I read. Apparently, CTV here is a news organization. They were making a news segment, it seems like, about the holidays, the Hanukkah, and during that segment, they played a clip of the war in Gaza. Like, wow, was this an accident or was it intentional? So you can see in this report, it seems like it's just an ordinary news reporter just going to some, I guess, festive sites to advertise it, I guess you could say, tell people to go to it. And normally in these situations, what would happen is it would cut to B-rolls and so forth. But yeah, you can see here, the B-roll ended up being war footage.
But this is an annual event to mark. Menorah will go up this afternoon and be lit tonight. There will be dignitaries and members of government will be in attendance along with the community.
We're having some technical difficulties there with Allison's mic. We'll certainly have more tonight on CTV News at 6.
So there lies the debate. And what would you think? Because the argument here is because the war is between, for example, Israel and Palestine, there's a tension between, for example, Jews and Muslims. So one of the speculations is how the producer, people are thinking they did it on purpose because of this holiday. For example, it celebrates, I guess, what Jewish people would normally celebrate. They're saying, nope, I'm putting this here so I want people to know there's a war going on. Would you think that's the case, or would you think this is a complete technical error? Apparently that's what they're blaming it on, and that's how they apologize for it. It's basically a quote technical error. What would you say though? Wow, that's one huge mess up. All right, see you guys later.